Hi there. We recently helped a plumbing business add over $250,000 to their bottom line. It wasn't through getting them more leads. It wasn't through buying a new truck. It wasn't through hiring another office staff. It was through one boring fix, making sure that every single one of their phone calls was answered in under a minute. So, in this video, we're going to talk about how $1 to $5 million plumbing companies are using AI voice agents, and it's without replacing their office staff. So, the problem. The phone is your lifeblood and you're missing calls. So if you're a plumbing company and you're doing between $1 and $5 million, you know this challenge intimately. It has nothing to do with your team being bad, but because there's real volume coming through your lines, after-hour calls, overflow, and human limits are real. It's not about not having enough staff necessarily. It's not about your staff not being great, but it's just the real human limitation of the fact that humans aren't going to work at 2 a.m. and they're probably not going to work on Christmas, but people still have plumbing issues that come up on those days at those times. You can outsource this to a call center if you want. It's both going to be more expensive and the actual service is going to be worse because rather than them, they just have a very simple script as opposed to an AI voice agent, which can actually be trained totally on your business, basically have your branding, your exact script, all your FAQs, learns over time, just gets better and better, and has capabilities way beyond that of a classic call center. So this video shows how established plumbing companies are using AI voice agents practically. Again, like I said, it's not about replacing people, but it's to capture revenue that is currently slipping through the cracks and will actually empower your people to do more high impact work and get more done for the company. So let me be clear up front. So there's nothing gimmicky about this. It's just a very practical solution to solve a real business challenge. Like I said before, it's not about firing staff. Your receptionist keeps their jobs. People continue to love them, but this augments their capacity and is essentially a safety net so that things don't fall through the cracks. It's like behind them, helping them out. And it gives them the confidence. So even when the phone's ringing, if they've got a person right in front of them, they can actually give that customer that's right in front of them a great customer experience. Let that phone ring through to the AI voice agent, knowing that that lead is going to get captured as well. Some businesses are even putting the AI as the front line of defense, where the AI can suss out and knows exactly when to escalate it to a human. And in that situation, your receptionist even gets more time to handle kind of office work and other things going on, in-person clients, and only the occasional call will need to be handled by a human. But usually we don't even start there. We always recommend that you start just with the overflow and the safety net, get it really dialed in. Your customer's really happy with how it's working, you really happy with how it's working for you before we ever even talk about that move. And this isn't really for early stage shops, right? This is for plumbing companies with established demand, existing staff, existent lead flow. Because if your phone is not ringing at all, we obviously can't get you missed calls out of nowhere. So this solution is designed for companies that want to stop losing booked jobs simply because the phone didn't get answered at the right moment. All right. And yeah, most owners don't realize that, it's not like you're missing, one call every 5 minutes or every half hour or on the hour, whatever. You're missing them after hours where people are still having plumbing emergencies, but your office is closed, but people still need to get that handled. Or even if it's not an emergency, right? If they've got a slow leak, but they've got jobs too, oftentimes for people, it's not practical to handle chores and sort of like daily tasks, things they need to get done after they get home for the workday. So a lot of people are going to want to be calling after hours. And if you can't receive calls after hours, you're going to lose that to a plumbing company that does. Because most people find plumbing companies, right, by Googling plumber near me. They look at Google, they click the first one, and if that person doesn't pick up the phone, they'll just go to the next, and you might have lost a multi-$1,000 job. So when the line is busy, right, so this is when multiple people are calling at the same time. Again, this can also happen because maybe multiple people are trying to get their plumbing scheduled on their lunch break. And you've probably experienced the ebb and flow of that throughout the day as well. Calls come in more at certain times and less at others. Or when your staff is occupied, do you really want to be having your receptionist have the stress of like get off the phone as fast as possible so that you can try to take another customer, but then that first customer is kind of upset because they felt hurried and rushed? Again, it's about freeing your people up to give the customers the best experience possible, and then also to make a safety net so nothing's being lost. Because yeah, those missed calls aren't tire kickers. They're not people just messing around. They're real emergencies, real jobs that need to be fixed. They're motivated homeowners, so they're essentially high intent leads. You can't really get more high intent than somebody actually calling your business. They want something fixed, and they want to do it with you. All right, and so here's the good stuff: the over $250,000 in revenue. So this is a very real result. This is one of our recent clients that from a trial that we ran in 5 days. We did this. We captured $8,000 in additional revenue for them. These are the real numbers. The AI booked 9 jobs directly onto their calendar in 5 days being live. Their close rate is about 80%. So they closed 8 out of those 9. Average ticket value for them is $1,000. That's $8,000 in added revenue in just 5 days. So if you do the math on that, that's $32,000 on the month. That's over $300,000 on the year, and it's over $1 million over the course of 3 years. Not too shabby for not having to, change ads, not having to do another full-on marketing campaign, not having to hire anybody, just literally making sure every phone call was answered and answered within the first minute. So how it actually works in real plumbing business, right? The AI answers when your team's unavailable. It captures the job details, any other additional info you might need. One of our plumbing clients, right, wants photos of the stuff, so we have them send photos over to an email address. And then it books, or it can escalate appropriately, right? If for some reason isn't something that can be handled by the AI or needs direct immediate attention, we can always just have them forward the call. But otherwise, they can pre-qualify them and book them right onto your calendar, so they just show up as an estimate that needs to be got. You've got all of the information for it, just as if your receptionist had taken the call. And then after hours, it answers every single call, right? Can handle the emergency triage, book next day appointments. If you're actually a plumbing company, right, that has 24/7 response, the AI can handle the after-hour calls and then forward it, if it's an emergency, to your people that are on call, rather than having them take a bunch of calls that are for people that actually don't have immediate emergencies. So again, it's less like a replacement and it's more like a perfect overflow receptionist. Never gets tired, never misses a call, never gets sick, never forgets to follow up, doesn't need holidays off, all that good jazz. And here's the thing, what customers actually hate. People oftentimes have this concern that customers will hate talking to AI. Most of this comes from hangover from people having bad experiences with menu trees, push 9 for this, push 3 for that, and just listening to robotic voice. Now we've got much more conversational, human-like experience with AI. And in practice, what customers actually hate is voicemail, endless ringing, callback during business hours. Nothing is more frustrating as the customer than to have a problem, call a business, not have that problem fixed, and need to keep trying to figure out, how do I fix this problem? They're looking to hand off their plumbing problem to a plumbing business. They don't want to be worried and thinking about it. So if they get an immediate answer from an AI receptionist and they know that there's a schedule and somebody's coming out to their house, that alleviates the pressure on them rather than with a voicemail or some other thing where they have no idea if they're going to hear back from you. So it's a much better client experience overall. And like you said, you're still giving them the sweet experience that you've built as a business owner with your technicians and with your receptionists when either A, they come into the office, or as soon as your technician shows up on the job site. So yeah, when the alternative is no answer, a well-trained AI voice agent actually increases the trust rather than decreasing the trust, because if you can't even answer the phone, how can you really handle their job well? So who this is not for, if you're doing under $1 million in annual revenue, it's probably not for you. We can maybe make it work. It just depends on what's happening in terms of how many calls you're getting. But like I said, if your phone isn't ringing, then it's probably not a great fit. But the beautiful thing about this is, right, if your average booked job is around $1,000, this thing, it's like 1 or 2 jobs and it totally pays for itself. And like I said, with that one plumbing company, we booked them 8 jobs in the course of 5 days from 9 missed calls. So, 9, we booked them 9 estimates, 8 of those converted. So, using their numbers. So if you're doing $1 to $5 million in revenue over the course of the year, we'd love to, and you're looking to optimize, get more revenue, not sure exactly where to find it, we'd love to work with you. Yeah, like I said, we'd love to have you be another success story of what it looks like to add, thousands of dollars in revenue every single month with a very simple solution without you having to change how you operate. So yeah, if you're ready to see what you're missing and you're a plumbing owner, we would love to have a chat. It's no pressure. There isn't a pitch deck. It's just a practical breakdown. We like to look at what you're currently missing, what your missed calls are, what the revenue is. We always work with the actual numbers. I'm an AI profit consultant. So the goal is how do we make your business more profitable and see if this actually makes financial sense for you. So my link is down below. Feel free to sign up for a 15-minute call. Would love to chat. And if this video is at all helpful to you, like and subscribe. We'd love to work with the owners of plumbing businesses. So talk to you soon.